Sorry. So I gave a little rant, right? I gave a little rant that why is it that these services don't consider um, redundancy in the form of outsourcing their computing services to other third party vendors like your Amazon Web Services as well as Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure. And it's true, outages do happen. They've happened way before in the past, but not to this degree. And I think this comes after a article or someone, a whistleblower from a former Facebook employee about privacy, and all of a sudden this is happening. So just to give some of you guys a little bit of history, when Facebook began, or how these technological companies work, is that what they do is that they buy a lot of servers, because whenever you open your smartphone, right? Whenever you open your smartphone and you open Facebook, Instagram, or WhatsApp, basically you're communicating with a server somewhere, right? And that information is saved there. And whatever request that you make to that server, let's say it's a picture, it'll then send a request to the server. For as long as you are signed in, authenticated, and you are the person that you say who you are, you will then request a picture, video, anything, text. And the server will then serve that back to you. So there are millions of Facebook users out there. In fact, in South Africa, there's just millions of us. So when we are making these requests at the same time, it's possible that we can overwhelm the server. And when we do overwhelm the server, it becomes too jarring for the server to keep up with all of these requests. So they have to stack up racks upon servers just to make sure that they can handle the demand, right? But these guys know that. They're smart, they're intelligent, they've been doing this for years. And my question is, I mean, what happened right now? Like, what actually happened, you know? So there's this article that I want us to quickly take a look at. And when will Facebook be back, and why is it WhatsApp and Instagram are not working? So this was a question I posed as to why aren't these services separated, right? So Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram have all gone down in a major outage, right? So such problems, especially after they've been ongoing for hours, likely indicates that there is a major problem with the technology underpinning Facebook's services, right? But Facebook, I believe, personally, guys, I believe that Facebook hires the most intelligent individuals out there, right? This is my personal opinion. And they've had outages in the past before, right? But it's something that they managed to fix, right? It's something that they managed to fix. So this time around, I'm not really sure what's going on, but this is something that they have managed to fix in the past. So anyway, let's then continue. It could be, and it could last for hours. So in 2019, when it suffered from its biggest outage ever, it was more than 24 hours from the beginnings of the problem until Facebook said it was resolved. So this then is telling me that in the past, Facebook has had a outage for more than 24 hours, which I kind of remember. 2019, I kind of remember it, but because I wasn't really a major Instagram, even WhatsApp user, because I don't really stay on WhatsApp that much, but I do use it to communicate with family. So yeah. So what's more, Facebook. Sorry guys, let me just look at increasing the text right here so that we can all see. Awesome. Okay, so what's more, Facebook might never truly reveal what caused the problems, and I don't think they probably will, right? I don't think they'll reveal it because this could damage their business. And I've got a friend of mine, he's into Forex, and he then asked me the other day that, Banela, could you help me with my advertising? And I said, look, I worked for a social media company and we placed ads on Facebook. Just to promote his businesses in the past. Sorry. So he asked me to add an advert on Facebook so that he can promote his business. And I said, sure, I'll help you out, which is supposed to happen sometime this week. But for those that are placing their hopes on Facebook advertising, this is a serious concern. So I think Facebook is taking this seriously. But there's other things that I want us to talk about when it comes to privacy and security, because there's been a lot of talks, and I once did an a video about Facebook being in the limelight again for security and all of that stuff, right? So anyway, so this has happened 2 years ago, and it was an outage which resulted in 24 hours of Facebook being down. Anyway, so this time around, at least some of the problems are related to the domain name system, or the DNS, which works something like a phone book for the internet. When a user types in a web address such as facebook.com, then the computer needs to turn that into an IP address, which is a series of numbers so that it can access the data that makes up the page you want to see. Okay, so I've got a little bit of history in web design. So a domain name server, according to this guy, he is correct that it is actually like a phone book. So whenever you go to the internet and type in facebook.com, basically what the domain name server does is that it looks at the word facebook.com and then it checks its phone book, because the domain is actually a series of numbers like 198, 168, so on and so on. So it takes a look at the it matches the domain name Facebook with the corresponding IP address number, and then it takes you to that website, right? So that's how it essentially works. So some people are saying that it is, according to this, a domain name error, because some people have been trying to ping facebook.com and nothing has been going on. So when it comes to pinging, I just want to show you something quickly. So I'm going to pull up, what do you call this? Command prompt, right? And sorry, just one more thing. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to pull up command prompt. So I'm going to pull up command prompt. Whoops, and it looks like my battery is low, and I thought I did charge. I really thought I did charge. But anyway, so this is command prompt right here. So what I'm going to do is I've got a website, and I'm going to ping my website just to see if whether I can reach the server or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in ping, and let's just quickly do this just so that you guys can see what's happening. Right, so I've got command prompt open up, and I typed in ping, and I'm going to type in my website right here. And when I hit enter, basically this information is telling you that I sent through a signal to my server from this address, and then I'm going to receive information right here. So I'm going to do the very same thing with Facebook. And ping request could not find the host facebook.com. So it means that Facebook is indeed down. All right, so let's go back to that article. Okay. Right, so with Facebook down, however, the system is not working. The computer searches for the numbers it wants to see, but the numbers are not there. So Facebook's servers should provide them. Facebook servers should provide them, but the phone book is in effect blank, right? So this means that anyone attempting to access the site will see an error code depending on what browser they use. So let's just quickly try this. Let's type in facebook.com, and this is what I get. All right. So apps that might work. Apps might work a little differently. They still show existing content such as WhatsApp messages, Instagram posts that they have already been downloaded, that have been cached onto your machine. So, but this but they will not be able to ask Facebook servers for new ones. So they can't make any new requests because it's not connecting to the server. So it is far from the only company to suffer such issues. In July, major websites, including those seemingly unconnected companies such as Home Depot, Delta Airlines, went down because of problems at Akamai, which offers DNS services to its customers. But Facebook's DNS problems are only a symptom, right? Because initially, right at the top, they did say that there could be an issue with regards to that. So, but Facebook DNS servers are only a symptom, even if they are the one that means, sorry guys, my reading is off today. Even if they are the ones that means many people are unable to access those sites. So the system would not break spontaneously. And so it is likely that something has happened to the underlying infrastructure, a stray settings change, a physical outage of a server, or something else entirely that has stopped it from working. So from news to politics, okay. So this was from The Independent, right? Okay, so sorry guys, my stream might have to be cut short, but let's just see how far this battery will last me. But anyway, so some of the things that I want to talk to you about regarding Facebook as a whole, there's been a lot of concern when it comes to privacy. And right now, I don't think people are really concerned about their digital privacy because we upload photos, we upload some events or situations that should be private, you know. Certain things should be kept to yourself. And some people use Facebook, Instagram, and the likes as a means to back up their photos, to which this makes me think that I should probably do a tutorial on better ways to back up your photos as opposed to uploading them to Facebook or Instagram. Now, I use Facebook. I'd say 50-50, but partially it is not really a tool for me to communicate with people, even though I do use it to connect with other individuals. But I do use Facebook for business a lot. So you'll see that I've got a business page, Blinko Network, and this is where I post most of the content that we create in-house. The same is true with Instagram. In fact, almost all of these other platforms, even though I'll confess that I do spend a lot of time on TikTok just purely for entertainment, which it's something I know I should probably do less of because it does take up much of my time. And these, I mean, like I said, these guys are really smart. They know how to keep you glued to their screen. So so speaking about privacy, there are things that we can do. Some of them, yes, we can't really do much of it, but there are small things that you can do, you know. Just the other day on my phone, I got a message that this was my travel route for Google Maps. And as far as location services, it's something that I had enabled where it kind of tracks me where I go, you know. And yeah, so, you know, small things like that. Like if I broke the law and they basically saw my pattern as to how do I move for the past couple of months, it's easy for them to find me or track me, you know. Or even if it's not the authorities, let's just say it's something illegal where I'm wanted, it's easy for someone to find me, right? So when it comes to privacy, guys, I think we should really look at different ways in which we can try and be more careful when it comes to our online media. So today someone was asking me to borrow them my phone to make a call, not using WhatsApp, not using any Facebook, but just a normal traditional call that makes use of airtime. So I gave them the phone and they were using it, you know. So what I saw is that for the longest time, in fact, I think almost 80% of my calls are on what do you call this? On WhatsApp, you know. As a family, we make use of Google Duo to connect and call each other. For work, I use Skype. I also use Microsoft Teams. And for conferences, I use Zoom a lot, sometimes Microsoft Teams. And it shows that we are heavily dependent on the internet. And if the internet were to go down, what would happen right now? That's the question, because most of most people are not um, they don't have any other ways of communicating with other people, right? So we've got other internet dependent apps that we use to talk to family. But if those were to go down, I think most of us would be in trouble, you know? Most of us would be in trouble. And as a result, it then got me thinking that besides the internet, right, there's other ways to communicate, like, for example, the traditional phone call. But how many of us still buy airtime to make a traditional phone call? Now, in SA, not most of us are, not all of us have smartphones. So chances are, we still do buy airtime, convert a portion of it into data so that we can communicate via WhatsApp as well as these other platforms out there. But if the internet were to go down and we are dependent on traditional phone calls, right? A lot of things would, be affected. Because right now I'm thinking about cell phone banking, number one, because I'm heavily dependent on cell phone banking right here. Um, secondly, obviously, it means I won't be able to talk to my loved ones, especially if they are very far at a remote area. That means that won't happen, right? So I'm now thinking to myself, man, we're so dependent on the internet, and if something wrong were to happen, we would be in trouble, right? So then, remember there was a time when WhatsApp was um, in the news um, for user info that they're collecting, where they were going to collect a whole lot of information like your um, location, right? Some of them. And it then got me thinking that, wow, if WhatsApp is collecting so much info about their users, basically it's like throwing our laundry out there, And this is sad, guys. This is really, really, really sad. So anyway, let's just see if we can find more articles about WhatsApp and the likes that are going down. I think this is worth looking at. Facebook share prices go down. Facebook share prices go down, and this is kind of expected, right? Especially if you're a tech company and something goes wrong where it affects your actual tech, then obviously this will affect your share prices. But again, guys, man, like, I'll keep repeating this, that what apps do you use to communicate with family? Is it purely or exclusively WhatsApp, Facebook, or any other chat app that's provided by Facebook like Instagram? Or do you somewhat kind of diversify? Like, for instance, you've got Facebook, right? You've got WhatsApp probably as your main, but do you have other apps that you use to communicate with your family? Like for example, my family, well, it's my sister that introduced us to Google Duo, and I think because we use Android phones, it was pre-installed on the device, so we use Google Duo to make phone calls to each other. But we also do have a WhatsApp group where I can just hit the dial button and I can start talking to whoever picks up from the family, right? But in this case, we're not particularly too worried that WhatsApp is down because we've been using Duo, right? And I think for most people, for most families, groups or whatever, people should start looking at applications other than WhatsApp. In fact, I'm not really pointing fingers to WhatsApp only. What I'm trying to say is one shouldn't really have a only one application that they depend on, right? So rather look at Telegram, Signal, as well as these other applications that you make use of, right? And because WhatsApp is so popular, if just like right now, because WhatsApp is down, most people are affected. So imagine if you've never spoken to your family or you don't have any other means to talk to your family other than WhatsApp. Some people might think, yeah, but why don't you just call them and tell them to open a Skype account or Telegram account? Granted, if let's say they are tech savvy, but for example, my mom uses WhatsApp, right? So let's just say there was no way for me to call her using, a traditional phone. And for me to tell her to open up or to download Telegram or any other applications, that would be a mission for her to do that, right? But if I had, let's say, spoken to her way before, kind of guided her through it, where there's another application that you can use, then it also becomes easier for me to communicate. But I can understand right now that there are a lot of people that are in distress. Whoops, sorry guys, my camera just went off. But anyway, we'll come back to that. So, let's talk about the share prices of Facebook plummeting. So social media giant suffers a devastating 5% drop, right? So let me just switch on my camera quickly. Sorry about that, guys. Right. Anyway, so as I was saying that with these chat applications, I think this should be a lesson that try by all means to open up Telegram account, open up a Signal account, open up Skype account, just so that there's more than one way for you to be reached, more than one way to reach your friends. Now, I think it's easy for me to do that because this smartphone that I'm using, a Samsung A31, it's got so much space that I can download all of these apps. But I do understand for individuals that have a smartphone that only has, let's say, 8 gigabytes of storage, where half of it is already taken up by the operating system. I do understand in that case, but I would say at least the second option would be Telegram, because Telegram also makes use of your phone number when registering an account. And what's nice about Telegram is that even if your smartphone is off, just as long as you've once logged in on your PC or the web, then you can make use of it even if your smartphone is off. But with WhatsApp, it requires your smartphone to be on and connected to the internet at the same time. So guys, try and take a look at other messaging applications. But anyway, let's just take a look at this article. The share prices of Facebook, they plummet, right? They plummet to a devastating 5% drop. So this was written by Ewan Boyle, right? So the social media giant went down across the world. So I can see there's a comment from Shatia, right? And he's from Indonesia, and they're also experiencing problems. So it looks like this is a worldwide outage. So this is causing issues for millions of users around the world. So along with Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, were also part of the social media blackout, as they also went down at the same time. So from this, Facebook has seen a fall in its share prices by close to 6%, right? So it is reported that Facebook has lost an estimated 7 billion in a mere few hours. It's true, guys. If you're thinking that they probably didn't lose 7 billion, trust me, they probably did, because it means they cannot charge for ads. Instagram, Facebook, well, not WhatsApp really, but these two platforms, including Messenger, these two platforms, they generate money using advertising. It's as simple as that. Whenever you open up Facebook or Instagram, whenever you're scrolling, every fifth scroll or fifth post, you will see an advert. So obviously they can't be charging for this advertising if the service is down. So it looks like the likes of TikTok, the likes of YouTube, they're probably seeing a surge when it comes to advertising revenue because Facebook is down. Now, I know in the US, a lot of people are like, nah, Facebook, we're done with that. We're moving on to other platforms. But Facebook is still big in South Africa. Facebook is big. This is where people post their lives. This is where people communicate with others using Messenger, right? So Facebook is still big in Africa. This is what we use. Yes, there are other platforms like your TikTok, which is taking the world over by a storm. But when it comes to Facebook, it is still huge. It is still big. And the fact that it's down is a major concern. So the fact that they are seeing a drop in share prices, then this is a testament that just a little thing like being offline for 24 hours, they could lose out on a lot of money, a lot, right? So anyway, so the company's share price has allegedly dropped since September, all right, and the stock dropping by a further 5%. So this has been in the decline for quite a while, and it looks like ever since there was news about Facebook information being leaked on the internet, where I think there was about over 300 million users where their info was leaked, like their name, surname, phone number, and so on, leaked onto the internet, where those that do have the tech expertise to make use of that information, they can just take that info and start spamming you with whatever it is. From then, the share prices have been going down. And at the beginning of this year, there was a message that WhatsApp, Facebook had sent out that WhatsApp will now start collecting more data about you. And there was it was havoc, guys. It was havoc. People are saying, hey, switch to Telegram, so on and so on. But I can say that even though that happened, it doesn't look like a lot of people switched entirely from from WhatsApp over to Telegram, Signal, and the likes. I think people still remain with WhatsApp because it is popular, easy to use. I'll give that to them. It's popular, it's easy to use, and it doesn't take up much space, right? Even though right now it is becoming a lot, it's becoming more complex, right? So anyway, so since September, the company is estimated to have lost around 15% in share prices. So if you are a Facebook shareholder, look, this is not financial advice, but if you are a Facebook shareholder, then hey, just make a decision. So Bitcoin's official magazine took to Twitter to share the news that they had surpassed Facebook in market cap during the plummet of its share price. This is worth checking out. So let's head over to Twitter and see, because I understand that Facebook also has a Twitter account. Believe it or not, Facebook has a Twitter account, and Twitter seems to be the way which people are delivering news nowadays. So remember whilst it's still opening. So remember, there was a time when Twitter went through this whole verification of accounts because people were somewhat just announcing info on Twitter, which wasn't true. Some of them, some true, but it looks like it has become the de facto standard when it comes to um, delivering news, right? So let's just let's look for Facebook and see what they're saying. Let's quickly switch to them. So I'm looking for people and whoops. I read somewhere that there is an official Facebook account. Nothing here. Sorry. All right, there we go. That's Facebook. So on Facebook, on Twitter, they've got 13 million followers. Now, this was sent 3 hours ago, so we are aware that some people are having trouble accessing their apps and products. We are working to get things back to normal as quickly as possible. And we apologize for any inconvenience, right? So let's just take a look at some of the messages that have been sent. And also, let me just try and increase this so that we can all see it. So Stephen says, yeah, I'm sure it has nothing to do with the 60-minute segment that aired last night about your poor business practices, all in the name of maximum profit. So I'm sure it is 100% a coincidence. Hopefully it is. The outage came the morning after 60 Minutes aired a segment in which Facebook whistleblower Frances Haugen claimed the company is aware of how its platforms are used to spread hate, violence, and misinformation, and that Facebook has tried to hide that evidence. Facebook has pushed back on those claims. Right, so other people are saying, I literally thought my cellular data wasn't working, so I rebooted my iPhone twice, then went home, connected to Wi-Fi, then still the same problem. And I thought my phone had issues, iPad too. I pull out YouTube on my laptop and went, what on earth? Then went to Twitter, our savior. So that's how they got to see. And this is 10 minutes ago, by the way, guys. Yes, it may be costing the small businesses a lot of money, but this is costing Facebook way more than 54 million in value, according to the stock market. Right, so this is Julian from the US, but that's not Facebook. Here's why I ask. Using a free service for a business is risky. Guys, I'll talk a little bit about that shortly. There is no one to call right now. You can't complain or file a grievance. You may use this as a learning opportunity. You may use this as a learning opportunity in which for businesses use a paid for platform. It's a good question, but I'm not sure if I know of any other social media which is paid, right? Unless you pay for an advert, but I'm sure they've got a disclaimer that they will try and deliver as much of your advert to a number of users, but I doubt it's financially backed up, right? So which then brings me to the following. Most of you guys make use of Gmail. That's true. Most of you guys make use of Microsoft Outlook, Yahoo. Those are the three that I can think of that are popular. So what happens when, for example, the same thing that's happening to Facebook, what happens when Gmail, Google, Microsoft, or Yahoo servers go down? Because you guys are using a free service, they are not necessarily in trouble if you lose all of your emails, right? Because there is a disclaimer that they don't really hold any responsibility if you do lose emails, documents, and so on. They'll try, obviously, to make sure that everything is secure and whatnot, but they're not really liable. But when you start paying for a service, which is exactly what I'm doing when it comes to my email services, which is Microsoft 365, the Exchange server, when I start paying, then to a certain extent, I have rights, so to speak, where I can call the company, I can take up a grievance against them if anything happens to my information. Now, I recently discovered that this goes way beyond what you and I think as far as backing up information. So, for example, they have a service which is called OneDrive. And with OneDrive, you can store your photos, your documents, and they give you up to a terabyte of storage. But hear me out, guys. Guys, there's a difference between your working storage on OneDrive and backup, right? So what Microsoft is saying, and I'm sure maybe the other vendors are saying that you've got OneDrive for storing your information and working with that data, but it's not necessarily backup, right? So when it comes to backup, they've got a different service for backing up your information, and it is financially backed up. So if in case anything happens, they are financially backed up. So I see that Barbara says, so it's down all over the world. It appears so. It appears that it's down all over the world. The US, someone from Indonesia said that. In South Africa, it is down. My WhatsApps that I've sent at 5 p.m. they did not go through, and the time right now is 10 p.m. at night. So yeah, so that's what's happening with services that you don't necessarily pay for, right? So anyway, I need Facebook back, or I can't text my girlfriend. Please fix your app. I did say this, guys. I did say this, that there are people that are relying on just one service, like WhatsApp or Facebook. And I think if your girlfriend is that savvy, try and send them an email so that probably you can download another texting services like your Telegram and your Signal and your Skypes and so on. But this is the reality, guys, that most people are just purely reliant on Facebook. And remember, Facebook has done so much. I mean, as much as a lot of people have a lot of grievances with the company, but they've done so much when it comes to, and I say this in quotes, opening up the internet, because here in South Africa, there is free Facebook where you don't necessarily see pictures, but you can use the free Facebook via their messenger services to communicate with other loved ones. So if you know that data or the data prices are too high, it is a problem, then you can make use of the free Facebook service to communicate with your loved ones. You know what I mean? So I'm sure a lot of people use that. And right now, because the service is down and people are paying a lot for data prices, and for those that communicate with their families using the free version of Facebook, right now they are in the dark, unfortunately, right? So anyway, so that wouldn't explain why the Facebook and Instagram domains are up for sale. What? This is interesting, guys. This is really interesting. So that wouldn't explain why the Facebook and Instagram domains are up for sale. Okay, so they got hacked, possibly due to this whistleblower. So Facebook is working hard to downplay the seriousness of what is going on right now with their services. Quite interesting. It's down to, so where's this person from? Okay, can't really see, but hurry up, homie. I need to share things all day. All right. And for people that are affected as well, we've got people that make money on Instagram, right? They are influencers. So if they cannot influence anymore, then it means brands won't be paying them, because they get paid per view or whatever post they post. People that see their post, influencers get paid via Instagram. And there's another application that I saw online where you can sign up and local brands, depending on the number of followers that you have on Instagram, Twitter, and so on, they can then work with you so that so they can work with you so that they can pay you, right? So something's up with my stream. Give me a second, guys. Let me just try and fix this. Hopefully YouTube is not suffering from the same thing. All right, awesome. Back online. Cool. Anyway, there are influencers out there, and these influencers make money using Instagram. And the fact that it's down right now means their pockets are being affected, right? So since Facebook is losing market share, people are losing money. Influencers are losing money. So this is really a serious problem. All right. So let's just see. Not a good time at Facebook. Not a good time. Let's connect at Elon Musk. He can help with the process, and together with that person, right, we can make this happen. We're gonna use, right? But China banned all of these social media apps and created their own apps that they banned. So for example, they make use of the, I think, countries around the globe in, right? Then continue. So Instagram and Facebook crash. So something has happened, and obviously that's a picture of well, I think this was photoshopped, right? But that's him trying to fix WhatsApp, Facebook, and so on. But as you can see from the this little hat that he's wearing, it's in Chinese. It's in Chinese, but anyway, that's funny. So Storm Trading says, "Dear Facebook, we are aware that many people, including doctors and scientists, are having trouble accessing your apps and products due to criminal censorship. Are you working to get things back to normal as quickly as possible? And will you apologize for any this where Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp are basically crippled, right? They are basically." So according to this, their services, so it shows the number unknown, except for Iran. It brings back results